Hello, it's Ruby, and today I'm going to be sharing with you what I keep in my bag. This is the bag I've been using recently, the very mainstream Daunt tote bag, which I feel everyone has. I love that this bag can fit so much in, but the one thing that bothers me about it is that there is no zip, which just makes it feel not very secure, especially when you're in a city. But I'm going to show you everything that is in here. Before we get started though, I wanted to give a quick history of handbags and the historic relationship between women and bags for holding personal items. So let's do that first. So bags, handbags. I never really got just how significant bags really are. I think there's a tendency to think of handbags as being incredibly shallow just because of the way that designer bags are flaunted, especially on social media. However, bags have this incredibly rich history in terms of independence, in terms of travel, in terms of movement. Like, bags are significant because they allow you to carry things around on your person. We have pockets. Like, well, sometimes women's clothing has pockets, though often not. Pockets allow us to bring things around with us. They allow you to carry a pen with you. They allow you to carry your phone with you. I don't know, I kind of sometimes think of it like it gives you an extra part, because if you've got a pocket, it means that you have something extra on your person which like becomes part of you for that moment. Like if you suddenly do need a calculator and you've got a calculator in your pocket, it's just like it has been a part of you because it's attached to you. It was only really in the 19th century that women's clothing started to be made with pockets, and because women's clothing didn't have pockets, little bags could be used as these like makeshift detachable pockets. So in the 17th century, little bags could be attached to the dress to replicate the function of a pocket. Bags are significant because they allow you to carry things with you, and we see something similar in the 17th century, 16th century as well, where tiny little books, usually psalters, usually kind of religious Christian books that could be used in prayer, would have all of these chains attached to them and kind of be bejeweled in all of this like these glorious jewels and gold, and then attached like jewellery onto a dress. And this kind of has this aesthetic value, of course, because it looks very beautiful, very decadent, but also it plays that function of meaning that women can bring this book out and about with them. They can use this book when they're out and about, and it kind of gives them the ability to move around a space instead of relying on kind of like the space, usually a domestic space, where they always have to go if they want to use the object. So bags allow you to carry things around on your person, but bags are significant because they are tied to the things that they hold. Like when we watch what's in my bag videos on social media, and the reason we find them so interesting, when we watch these videos, we're not interested in the bag itself, we're interested in what's inside that bag. Otherwise the title would just be bag. But we want to click on what's in my bag. It's not about the bag, it's about what the bag holds. Bags are inextricably tied to the things that they hold. Like, it wouldn't be a bag if it couldn't hold something. It would just be a prop. Like, if I was holding a wooden handbag that was completely solid on the inside, you wouldn't call it a bag, you'd call it an accessory. Like, bags are linked to the objects that they hold, and that's a very obvious point, but I think that's at the crux, at least it was for me, of really understanding how important bags are. Consider, for example, Queen Elizabeth I had this like beautifully decadent bag which was used to hold what is known as the Great Seal, and the Great Seal was this kind of metal seal which was used to authenticate documents. And so if she's moving around, she has to have the seal with her, because if she's signing something, she needs to authenticate the fact that it was signed by Queen Elizabeth I. And so there is a bag which is used to hold the seal, and the bag is inextricably linked to the object that it holds. But kind of also, as with today, the bag itself reflects and kind of like speaks to the thing that it is holding. Like, this bag was made intentionally with the purpose of holding the seal, but also in terms of its visuals, in terms of its aesthetic, it looks like a bag that would hold something so important because it's been hand embroidered, there are these jewels, it's like this very rich red and all of this gold thread, and as an object it speaks to the object that it holds. In the 17th century, you also have wicker baskets. So for example, in this painting by Louise Moron, which was painted in the first half of the 17th century, we see a wicker basket which is able to transfer produce from one place to another. But then we also see the woman in the front using the folds of her dress to carry things, and kind of, she makes a bag from her dress. And I love this painting because I see the practicality of the bag through this woman who doesn't have one. And then in the 18th and early 19th century, we see the growth of more bags kind of being commonly used by women. These small bags which were used to carry key objects when women left the house, so things like handkerchiefs or calling cards, and these bags give women more freedom to leave the house, to leave that domestic space, because they can carry things with them. We then see even more growth in bags in the 19th century as more people take holidays, you know, because of the advent of the steam railway train and the railway links which open all across England, which mean that more people go on seaside holidays, and so portmanteaus and these like pieces of baggage for travelling become popular then. Bags are fascinating because they testify to what is happening at that cultural moment, and it gives you an insight into the places that people are going, the freedoms that they have, the things that they are doing when they are away from the house, like how much stuff do they need and what do they need. Because they hold objects, they speak to people's relationships with objects. When we look at bags, we are not just looking at bags. We are looking at vessels which allow movement and which are inextricably linked to activity. Maybe this is also obvious, but I have just been very excited about bags and what they represent recently, and so I wanted to give you some insights. I hope you found that interesting, and now I'm actually going to show you what is in my bag. There is quite a lot in here. Honestly, it's very, very heavy, but I always like to have everything with me that I might need, and I hate the idea of being out and then realising I need something and not having it, which is terrible for my shoulders. My bag is always just way too heavy, but I like to always keep this in here. The heaviest thing in here and the biggest thing in here is my laptop. Now, I don't always bring this out and about. If I'm going to London, I won't bring this because I'm scared that it will get stolen. So the case is from Skinny Dip. It's very nice. It's like a black velvet with these little gold stars. And then this is my laptop, and I've just covered it with a load of lovely stickers. Oxford Comma enthusiast, I love the Oxford Comma. This is an Anne of Green Gables one. If you know, you know with this one. Jane Eyre, Emily Dickinson. And then some of these are stickers that I made for my stationery shop, Pumpkin Productivity. My laptop is the main thing I use for working, and I wrote my novel on this as well, so I like to have it with me. And immediately the bag is so much lighter. I'm going to start with this little pocket on the side because there are some mini essentials here that I like to be able to grab quickly. This here is my wallet. It's just a very simple card wallet. I got it on Vinted 3 years ago. Bank cards in here, of course, but also my 3 different library cards. I've also here got my National Trust card for visiting National Trust properties. Would highly recommend if you live in the UK. I like to keep a snack on me. This is a Pakia bar. Pakia bars are my all-time favourite. AirPods, these are the AirPod Pros, which are noise cancelling. I've also got 2 loose pens. This is the Pilot V5 0.5 high-tech, which is my favourite kind of standard black writing pen. And I've also got a Uniball Eye fine red pen. Recently I've really been enjoying alternating between black and red pen when writing notes, and so they're my 2 favourites at the moment. This is very, very faded. This is very old. I bought a multi-pack of these like 5 years ago. This is a Wild Rhubarb hand sanitizer spray, and I like that it's a spray because when out and about you can use it to spray down surfaces. And then the final thing in there is my house key. Drawstring cloth bags, and I've got these so that things don't get scuffed in my bag. I really don't want things to get ruined. You know, like when you put papers or a book into your bag and then they end up getting all tatty and torn and folded, and I just really don't like that, so that's why I use these. This one is from Scriptum, which is my favourite stationery shop. It's in Oxford, and they sell kind of Italian stationery, very nice stationery. Like, it's a beautiful shop to go in. If you're ever in Oxford, I would highly recommend visiting. It feels like a museum when you're in there. And then this one is from, of course, Shakespeare and Company, which is the bookshop in Paris. They sell the tote bags, but they also sell these little book bags, which are the right size for a hardback book, so that you can protect it. So in this one, which is larger, I've got the book I'm reading at the moment, which is Joan Didion, South and West. It's excerpts from her notebooks, and I've read a little bit of Joan Didion before, but not very much. I read A Year of Magical Thinking. I watched a YouTube video about how Joan Didion uses notebooks, and then I went down a bit of a rabbit hole and looking into her notebooks, and when I was in Daunt Books last, I saw this and wanted to give it a go. I've read an embarrassingly little amount of this book, considering that I started it last week. And then the other thing in here is my Paper Republic. This is specifically the one that I use for novel writing. This is a portfolio. There is space here for a pen, and then back here I've got these little papers that I use for writing thank you notes. Then here I've got some notebooks. I've only got 2 in here at the moment. Usually I have more like 3 or 4. And at the back, these slots are perfect for tea bags. So I've got a tea bag here, just a peppermint one. Some calling cards, just like the Victorian ladies that I mentioned before. They're not actually for calling cards though, they're just for quick notes and like writing down quotes and thoughts. I've got some postcards of a meaning to send, and yes, I do love this. I bring it with me everywhere, and somebody commented on a video that it's a bit like a travelling desk, and it's seems very cozy, and that is completely it. Like, it does feel like you're at home and that you're writing in like a familiar space, no matter where you are when you've got this with you, which is what I like about it. And then in this one I've got another of my Paper Republics. This is my mini one. It's in the same colour, and again it's a portfolio, and this instead has some slightly smaller notebooks. A miscellaneous commonplace book that I started last month. This is life planning, this is messy thoughts, and there is an extra slot for when I want to bring my main commonplace book out and about with me, but I got quite precious about this recently and I don't really like bringing it out with me anymore, so I tend to keep it at home and then update it when I'm at home, just because I really am so scared of losing it. And in the same pouch here I've also got this, which is a to-do list from my stationery shop. Again, pumpkin productivity. My best friend actually painted this, which makes it even more special, and I adore it so much. He's so talented. So I like having this with me so I can write quick to-do lists on the go, because I'm a little bit obsessed with to-do lists. And then I've also got, what is that? Oh, I was so confused for a second. This is a conker which somebody gave me. So I've got a conker. It's kind of shriveled now, which is very sad, but I was confused for a second. I've also got my fountain pen. This is the Kaweco Sport fountain pen with a fine nib, and the reason I keep it there and not in the other pocket is because, again, I'm scared of it falling out. There is still more in my bag. I told you it was very packed. I also got this. This is a pocket code word. I've been obsessed with these recently. It's just quite a fun thing to do if you're bored and your instinct is to go on your phone. Like, instead you can do a code word or a Sudoku or a crossword. I've got one of each of those. The next thing I've got in here is my beloved neck ring. I'm obsessed with this thing. It's one of my favourite things I've ever bought, and I bring it with me everywhere now. Basically, I don't know exactly how it works, but it's got a gel inside of it that has a higher freezing point than water. It means that it stays a solid and it feels cold, even when it's quite warm. So this can sit in room temperature and it won't melt, and it's just a great way to like regulate your temperature. I bring this with me mainly for public transport, because when it's crowded, that's when I think you're most likely to feel very hot. This is amazing. It's always on me. I've got a scrunchie, my phone charger. Oh, I would sometimes bring this. I wouldn't always bring it, but it's a mini vlogging camera just in case I ever want to film something when I'm out. Oh, this is a little pouch which I fill with birdseed in case I ever find some birds, because it's so much fun when you're sat at a bench and then you sprinkle some birdseed and then all of these birds come over to you and it feels like you're making friends with all of these birds. I'd recommend this. You can buy like the massive packs of birdseed from garden centres for like £5 or £6, and it will last you a really long time. And yeah, this is something I would recommend to everyone. Not if you don't like birds. If you don't like birds, probably don't do this, because birds will come up to you, but it's very fun. The last thing now is just this, which is a mini pouch of essentials. This pouch was very kindly sent to me by the Well Read Company. As you can see, it's A Midsummer Night's Dream, and it's got a quote on the back, which is, "Love looks not with the eyes but with the mind, and therefore is winged, Cupid painted blind." And in here I've got many different miscellaneous things. Okay, so I have got a mini perfume. This is in Curio, and I got this when I was in Haworth with Blakeney. So we found these tiny roller balls in the old apothecary, and this one is in coconut, vitamin E and jojoba oil, and it smells so delicious. It's kind of spiced but also chocolatey and vanilla-y, and it smells like Angel, the perfume Angel. Both of us wanted to get a perfume, so we just bought each other the perfume that they wanted to justify buying them for ourselves. So technically Blakeney gave this to me and I gave her one the exact same price, but they're really nice and both of us keep them in our bags. I've then got some wired headphones in case my AirPods run out of charge. I've got, let me grab this. I've got some little salt and sugar packets. These come in very handy. I really like having salt on sweet dishes, and so I would use that for that, and brown sugar if there isn't any and you've ordered a coffee or a tea. I've got some Gaviscon tablets which just help with indigestion. This is my favourite lip balm. It's the cookiebutterbomb.com from Glossier, which they've discontinued. which makes me very sad. Like, this is a really old one, you can tell from the top of it because they've changed their design now. I've got some hand cream, my contact lens case. This is a micro SD card adapter. This camera uses a micro SD card, so this means that I can transfer the footage to my laptop if I want to. Blister plasters. I've got more tea bags. This face spray. It's a bit dirty because I had something spill all over my bag recently. It's the Evian facial spray. I've been using this since I was 11 and it's very refreshing. Then I've got some Loop earplugs. These are the Loop Engage Plus ones and they're just clear, which I love because if I put them in my ear right now, you can barely see them. And when you put this in, it kind of reduces the noise, so you can still hear, but all of the outside volume has gone down slightly, which is really great again for public transport. So you can still hear when your stop is going to be announced, and you can still hear when somebody tries to talk to you, but it reduces all of that really annoying background noise, which is very good because I tend to get quite overwhelmed in cities, and so this helps with that. I've got a button hair clip. I love wearing button hair clips. My favourite hair clips are button ones. I've got quite a few of these and I make them myself by just hot glue gunning little buttons to these hair clips. This is a reusable pound coin for lockers. I got this one from the Bodleian Library. Most libraries will sell them. And then I've got 2 pieces of makeup, finally. Both of these were actually very kindly sent to me by Merit and I love them both so much. They've become my go-to pieces of makeup, both of these. This is the, what is it called? This is the Perfecting Complexion Stick, and it's like a foundation-y, concealer-y sort of thing. You can't really see. I really like this. And then this is my favourite lip product at the moment. It's the Merit's lipstick in Antibes. This really lovely colour. It kind of reminds me of the Cake lipstick from Glossier, which was my go-to lipstick, but I think they recently changed their formula and I don't really like it anymore because it feels like crayons. I can't really explain it, but I love the colour. As you can see, it's kind of like orangey. But that's everything that I keep in my bag. It's quite a lot and it's probably too much. Well, it is too much and I rarely use all of the things in my bag, but every once in a while something will come in useful and I'll be glad that it's there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and I hope that you have more than just a productive week. And also stay tuned because I'm in the process of planning a video around like Victorian bags. I think it'll be really fun.